Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ball Talk. This week we're game week 4 and we are talking about how everything gone with everything. So yeah, the game week starts with Ange debut with Nottingham Forest, and it wasn't a debut to remember from, if you are a person following this coach, this manager, like in terms of how to lose with them, I think Ang wouldn't have a problem with that being how the game turned out, to be honest. To know that it's a 3-0 defeat with his principles, Ang should be good with that. And the fact that the game happened like that means that he will have more control with Nottingham Forest, how their project is now built with him as their manager. So that's how the game week started, and Pasticagalo, he got a chance to look at the key players of the previous manager which was Nuno Espirito Santo, blah blah blah, the former Tottenham manager. So it's an upgrade for Nottingham Forest, because they now have a European champion, a current the winner of the Europa League the winner of the Europa League. The manager is now the manager of Nottingham Forest. So it will be interesting, of course, to see how the project of Forest develops now that they have what I would think is a world-class manager. More of the same for Andoni Ariola. Yeah. Antoine Semenyo, they have a star player. Tottenham got Dominic Solanke, and his defense got completely, everybody wanted his defenders, and it's kind of a new look Bournemouth for him, and to see him still be able to give those top-notch performances for the club with the players he has available. He's a good coach, and the players keep turning up for him. Right now, Antoine Semenyo is doing so good. So, yeah, good game for them. For Sunderland and Crystal Palace, the newly promoted team did well to get a draw with the FA Cup winners, the winners of the Community Shield. Oliver Glasner is another manager who had to somewhat make an effort to keep his players. He had to part ways with Iberiche Eze. The good thing is that the main man, from what we see, who would be Jean-Philippe Mateta, is still there, and he's still giving them good performances. We're still seeing them playing ball, and Sunderland, from their perspective, another point on the road to survival, closer and closer to surety. Both teams would be pleased, I think. This game week had 2 draws. The next one was Jack Grealish's Everton went to his former club, and they weren't able to separate the teams. James Garner still being phenomenal, and to the fact that Jared Brantwaite is still not yet playing, he's still out, and Everton is holding up so good. This year it looks like when Jared Brantwaite is back for Everton, they will be aiming to be a mid-table club, or who knows, they could even still be in for the fight, or they're trying to secure a place in a European position. Who knows where Everton will be when Gerard Brantwaite is back. Yeah. So Leeds and Fulham, I know, with the Premier League, like Nottingham Forest, Leeds United is a premium club with a lot of history. So I think that's the thing with Daniel Farke and not being an already established manager. So he waited a bit too long with the changes based on his squad of players, and in extra time, Fulham got the winner, because it's about he has been promoted with Leeds to the Premier League, you know, and the players that he have available, a good amount of them were with Leeds when they got relegated, you know. So I, I understand wanting to keep those players. The fact though is what happened with them. So with that happening to them, he should be looking to use more new faces to the core, to be the core, you know, be the core of the squad, and those experienced players adding to what he is building, what is already there, so that they can be able to secure points, you know, Leeds United. Yeah. Newcastle United and Wolverhampton Rovers. No, no Alexander Isaac, and I don't think anyone misses him. They was able to get the win. The new signing, the player who will be a better player than what he was, scoring on his debut. Yeah, well, what else? You know, that's a good start. That's a good start. You know, even to see Sandro Tonali back at the top of his game, playing ball, you know, weekly, and we're seeing the Italian. You know, the Italian just being an Italian, and the team is winning. Yeah, guys, so Tottenham went to West Ham United, and of course we won. We bought Mohamed Kudus from them, 3-0 victory, and Lucas Bergvall getting his first goal in the Prem with also an assist, which makes him the youngest player to do it in so many years, you know, probably since, I think no one has done it since I was born. It could go further than that, or before that, I'm not sure, to be honest. Lucas Bergvall, quality player, who I guess this year the Europa League means nothing. Florian Wirtz got nominated with the Europa League. The invincible thing, you know, people will say 17th and we won the Europa League though, and what about other teams that did it before? Why does a 17th place has anything to do with it? Because that was the aim. If you're a fan, that was the aim. They can say whatever, cool. We got the 3 points, Tottenham, and Mattis Tell started. T. Mattis, our number 11, Tottenham Hotspur, started. And of course, his first start of the season, 3 points, 3 goals. He's a player that Ange wanted. Ange wanted Mattis. And you know, as Thomas Frank, so the plans that he was bought into have changed for sure, yeah. And so he's adjusting to the new system that is transitioning with him. And a win is a win, and he played well, you know, holding up the ball. Matista. Things we love to see, you know, all the hype. Brentford getting a draw, a well-deserved draw. Honestly, I thought Brentford could have gotten the 3 points if the match was a little longer. I think Brentford could have gotten the 3 points, but, you know, the refs called the game early. So Burnley and Newcastle, to be honest, I had the game being a draw, and Burnley would edge it in the you know, final minutes and stuff. To be honest though, Florian Wirtz, what a player, and Federico Chiesa, they brought him on, and they got the 3 points, you know. For a team, they spent, yes, Liverpool spent, of course, and for a team you have Florian Wirtz, the best German player in the game since Thomas Muller, starting for you. And when you sub Florian Wirtz, you're bringing on Federico Chiesa, who is the best Italian in the game. You're gonna get the 3 points. Not much any team can do about that, you know, moving from Florian Wirtz to Federico Chiesa. And Burnley played until extra time. Yeah, another good game for Scott Park. And the game that was the match week, you know, for me, I'm surprised that, it's not even surprised, you know. It's just something that I don't think should be understood. It's something that I don't think should be understood, because the fact that Man City is a club that it was Manchester United players and people on Manchester United who left Manchester United and went to Manchester City to play for the city and blah blah blah, whatnot whatnot. Change of culture to it being more of a city than, you know what Manchester United is about, So for them to call it a rivalry, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't see how Manchester United versus Manchester City is a rivalry. Maybe 20 years ago, and it still wasn't a rivalry. It still wasn't a rivalry back then, because back then Manchester United would always win. Those people, though, they left from Manchester United to Man City and are doing the same thing. So I don't see how that's a rivalry. That's not a rivalry. And as expected, Phil Foden, first start of the season, just like Javi Simmons, he has to get something for that. His first start of the season, he has to get something for that. That's the type of player those players are. You know that when you see those players playing, you're sure you might not get it when you want it. You know that those players are leaving with something. They're leaving their mark. They're doing something so that they get the win. And that was game week 4. That was game week 4. So, yeah, guys. Remember, you see his music and thing. The demos, those are demos. Those are the stuff, If it inspires you, that's cool. Yeah. Curate Pavlon, I think.